Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on a Friday. Means our show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp on Government Street between Foster and Jefferson. Loads and loads to get to as we head towards a action-packed weekend of sports, namely college basketball. Of course, some college baseball as well that we'll get to. LSU and Samford tonight from the box, 6:30 first pitch. We'll play the Samford Bulldogs 3 times over the weekend. Talk about that here in 30 minutes. Saints looking into shore up their quarterback spot. Not the Derek Carr. Who's backing him up? That'll be at the end of the hour. Bruce Feldman and the team over The Athletic came up with their top 10 college football coaches. I have not looked at the article. I showed it to Taylor Sharp. He wrote them down. I will try to guess them in hour number 2. Get you set up for the SEC baseball weekend that is. And we'll do our Citizens Bank and Trust poll question of the day right out of the chute here. Should Hunt sing the Vanderbilt fight song? We'll see what the votes say at the end of the show. If it happens, we'll make it work. If not, I'll be spared. Tigers were not spared last night. LSU season comes to an end in the SEC basketball tournament. Final score 77-68. Vanderbilt ends a dismal season for LSU and sends the Tigers home for good. They will move on to play Kentucky late night tonight in Nashville. Thought about where I wanted to go with this, and there are a couple things I want to talk about with the game. And in this season, since about late January, you've known that there wasn't any postseason hope for this team. You were looking and scratching and clawing for some positives to move forward with the program. As Matt McMahon said last night in his post-game press conference, we took over this program in a state of crisis. We all know the situation. I'll do the autopsy on the season on Monday. But I'm continuing to look for some sort of positives to move forward. And as a quick aside, I hear some people say, why would you even watch? Why? And I got to thinking about this last night. It's a sad state of my, personal choices or feelings, but it doesn't change that they are what they are. I just love watching them play. I love watching LSU play basketball. I love watching LSU play baseball. I love watching LSU play football. There's a reason I'm still in the stadium. Well, I got to do the post-game show, but I'd still be in the stadium with a 52-3 lead in the fourth quarter. There's a reason I'm watching to the bitter end last night. I just like watching them play. I can't turn that off in my brain. And the whole time I'm sitting there going, man, I hope they win this game. But I'm also thinking, okay, what can we build on here? And I think the shooting ability of Tyrell Ward was impressive. Not much else in his game is popping right now, but he can shoot the basketball. Sean Phillips' emergence over the last couple of weeks, specifically back on Wednesday night, was nice to see. KJ Williams has been a delight all year. Just an exceptional player. Talk about him in a second. But I'm also looking for concepts, plays, things that are part of the Matt McMahon system. And so last night before the half really, really irked me. You're down 35-29. You're down 6 points. There's 33 seconds left in the half. And KJ Williams gets a rebound on the defensive end. He passes the ball to Adam Miller, who quickly gets it over to Cam Hayes as he crosses into the front court. You've got basically the last possession of the half. There are 3 seconds differentiating the game clock and the shot clock. And what happens on that last possession is Cam Hayes dribbling I counted it, for 21 seconds. 3 guys on the floor never move. There's basically a pump fake at a ball screen that doesn't work. And then Cam Hayes heaves up a 3. That is unacceptable. I cannot, under any circumstance, understand having the ball in Cam Hayes' hands, not KJ Williams, not even Adam Miller's, for 21 consecutive seconds while no one attempts to do anything on the floor, and then a wild 3 is thrown up, which turns into a long rebound, which sends Vanderbilt the other way, and they get 2 free throws. That's the kind of stuff I'm still watching for. And that's not acceptable. That cannot be the last possession of the half. Get into a set and try to accomplish something. This season's not going anywhere. This tournament run's not going anywhere. I'll live if you end up missing a 3 from Adam Miller, who comes off a stagger screen and gets a great look. I'll live if you get it to KJ at the elbow and he makes a move and throws up an air ball. At least there was a concept there. There was nothing. They didn't do anything. Cam Hayes, I ran it back. I rewound it and played it. 21 seconds he dribbled the basketball. That drove me nuts. Another thing that drove me nuts last night. You're down 12 points with your season on the line. There's 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go, and no one's in a full court press. You're just sitting back in man, letting Vanderbilt run the entire clock out. You're down 12 with 3:40 to go. Where's some urgency? You got on the plane and flew up to Nashville. You've been there a couple of days. You might as well try. I just did not. I didn't like that. You're down 12 with 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Urgency. Last night was a fitting end offensively to the season. I say that because of this stat. KJ Williams last night was 10 of 16 from the floor. That's 63%. He was 4 of 8 from 3. Quick math, that's 50%. And he scored 26 points. I'll tell you that again. KJ, 10 of 16 from the floor, 63%. The rest of his teammates were 13 of 53 from the floor for 25% from the floor. KJ, 4 of 8 from 3. The rest of the team, 2 out of 15. He scored 26. They scored 42. There's just nobody to help him. Adam Miller had some of these games over time. He was 0 of 9 from the floor, 0 of 6 from 3. He scored 2 points. At least, and I said this yesterday, Trey Hannibal has some limitations because he's not very tall and he's not an adept shooter. But man, the dude plays hard. And I said this exact thing yesterday, and it carried over to the game last night, and I'll say it again today. When you're a 6'1 player who doesn't really shoot from the outside at all, you've got to work to score your points. He scored 13. And you've certainly got to work to rebound. He had 13 rebounds last night. He got 7 offensive boards. He also dished out 4 assists, had 2 steals, and gave 5 fouls playing defense. Trey Hannibal left it all on the line last night. But inevitably, just not enough. And again, they shot 33% from the floor as a team. That's just part of what's going to happen when this collection of guys goes out there. It's just not a good offensive team. And they shot 26% from 3, and that happens too. They weren't atrocious on turnovers. That's one of the things I was talking about. They only turned it over 8 times. And I can live with all of that stuff. But not getting into a set right before half and not showing urgency into the end of the game, that's hard for me to swallow, honestly. Because you can't control your talent, but you can control decision-making, structure, and effort. And I thought that they fell short last night doing that. I'm not upset that they lost to Vanderbilt. That's not... I'm disappointed the season's over. Y'all think I'm nuts. Probably the only person alive. Because I just like watching them play on Tuesdays and Saturdays. But I was most disappointed last night at those situations and how they were handled. Because that stuff needs to be cleaned up. And look, Matt McMahon has never gone through a season like this in his coaching career. And he said in a press conference last night, or 2 nights ago after the win over Georgia, said, Nice environment for a first four. I hope I'm never back. Well, they've got work to do to make sure they're not back there next year. No question about it. And that's a conversation for another day. What this roster looks like right now, what the options are moving forward, and how you go about making sure that you're not back in the first four moving forward. That's a conversation that we'll have on Monday. There are pieces that you've got to go add, and they're very, very available all over the country in the transfer portal. This is a game that is largely based on roster composition and talent acquisition. And LSU's got to get into that phase of it right now. They lose last night to Vanderbilt, 77-68. Man, Stackhouse runs some great stuff. I don't know how much of y'all were paying attention to that last night, but some of the stuff Dane Bradshaw was showing on the telestrator, the one where they did a design drive not to score, guy drives the baseline left at the top of the key, another player comes off a stagger screen and gets a wide open look at a three and buries it. They run some really good stuff, and even without Liam Robbins, their best scorer, their best player, they shot 46% from the floor, scored 77 points, got to the line 30 times. It's an impressive coaching job that Jerry Stackhouse does, and he's not got an exceptionally talented team. And they've played great over the last 4 weeks with Robbins and without him. So they'll move on tonight to play Kentucky. That's going to be a tough one for them to get done. But if they can beat Kentucky, they can make things a little interesting on the weekend. If they get some breaks in other conference tournaments, they may play their way onto the bubble. Certainly moving on to tonight. So LSU basketball in the rearview mirror for now. We're full steam ahead with some women's basketball and certainly baseball. I'll talk to you about LSU and Samford coming up here in about 20 minutes. But our Friday show's brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Quick service fried fish and shrimp restaurant. New concept here in Baton Rouge from the folks that brought you Couillon's Barbecue over there across the river, and it is fantastic. The recipe was born right here in Cajun country. And let me tell you about what they've got if you're looking for a Lenten meal. Not going to have meat today. Their famous jumbo baked potato filled with Louisiana crawfish etouffee and topped with golden fried Gulf shrimp. A baked potato with crawfish etouffee. Oh, just to die for over there at Cork's. They got you figured out for the kids' meals over there. Get the beignet bites for your desserts. If you're looking to tailgate out at Alec Box, they can help you out with that over the weekend as well. You got a party you want catered, Cork's can help you out. Check out the website. It's corksfishandshrimp.com. Corksfishandshrimp.com is the website. They're bringing you our Friday shows. You can drive right on through for a late lunch right now. If you're looking for dinner, great option. It's on Government between Jefferson and Foster. So get on by Cork's. They bring you our Friday shows each and every week. We'll come back, react to what went on in the SEC basketball tournament yesterday, and give you an update on what's going on the floor right now. We got a bloodbath brewing in the early game up in Nashville. That's next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of Louisiana politics makes his return to Baton Rouge. Catch the Moon Griffon Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. on Talk 107.3.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance with the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units.
Charles Hannegriff, join us for the Monday edition of Hanny Time. The field of 68 will be set. Plus, we'll recap the final non-conference weekend for LSU baseball. Hanny Time, noon weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, let's look at the SEC basketball tournament action from yesterday and kind of reset where that leaves everybody. We'll get to LSU baseball talk here in 15 minutes. I'll tell you what I'm looking for this weekend from the Tigers against Samford Bulldogs coming in. This is this series, incidentally, part of the trade that had LSU acquired John Brady from Samford. Said if he made a Final Four that they'd set up a baseball series 35 years later. So Samford will be returning the trip thanks to the acquisition that LSU had of John Brady from over there in Alabama. So yesterday in the SEC basketball tournament, when we were on the air, Mississippi State got a nice win over Florida in overtime. That was a big win for their tournament chances, a game they really needed to get, and they got it done. Arkansas and Auburn played a classic. Auburn had a chance at the end to throw one in and get a tie, could not make it go. So Arkansas moves on, and they beat Auburn. Auburn's situation is interesting for bracketology because Lenardi's got them in as a 10 seed right now. Their resume kind of stinks, in my opinion. You're looking at an Auburn team that has 3 quad 1 wins. I mean, we do this stuff all the time in the Wade era, talking about where LSU sits, this and that. 3 quad 1 wins, 3-10 against Q1 is really not very good. Their net's 32, which would obviously put you right there on the bubble. I guess they're in. They got a nice win at the end of the season against Tennessee, so I think they're going to make it. But I would not be surprised if they got sent to Dayton, quite honestly. 3 Q1 wins? That's poor stuff. So I think they could have really used a win over Arkansas, which would have been really nice for them. KD Johnson goes for 20 in that game. And look, Anthony Black for Arkansas had a great game yesterday. Had 19.6 assists, he's a heck of a player, and I'm curious to see if he'll be back in Fayetteville next year if he takes his talents to the NBA draft, because he's such a big point guard. That's a great piece for an NBA roster, and he's really young. So I'm curious to see if he'll be back or not. Then you look at Ole Miss and Tennessee. The Vols just hammered Ole Miss in Bridgestone Arena. 70-55 was the final in that one, and that'll end Ole Miss's season. They finished 12-21 on the year, 3-15 in league play. And it appears that Ole Miss is going to make a move maybe today to announce Chris Beard as their head coach. That's what it sounds like to me, reading the tea leaves out there on Twitter. And I, quite frankly, think he'll win a ton of games at Ole Miss. I've talked about this in the past. I think this is very similar to Nate Oates going to Tuscaloosa. I think it's very similar to Bruce Pearl going to Auburn. I think it's very similar to Billy Donovan going to Florida. It's a team that's got some resources, got some money in this league that has kind of not really had much success in basketball. And the program's basically dead asleep. But they've got a great new arena, a practice facility, and I think that he can win there. I'm not telling you he's going to win back-to-back titles like Billy Donovan or be a one seed like Nate Oates. He could, but I'm just saying I don't think it's one of those deals where Ole Miss is just impossible to win there. I don't see it that way. You work the transfer portal, you get good players, and you coach defense the way Chris Beard does. I think that Ole Miss can win some games, and it sounds like they're going to tab Chris Beard as their head coach today potentially. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Currently going on in Nashville right now, Alabama is all over Mississippi State. I was joking with Taylor, producer, a little bit earlier, saying like they were up 8, and I went down, grabbed a drink, came back up, and they were up 20. It was boom. It just absolutely went nuts at the end of the first half. They lead by 21 right now with 14:31 to play in the second half. Alabama 50, Mississippi State 29. We think Mississippi State is okay. If you look at Joe Lunardi's most recent bracketology, he's got Mississippi State in his last 4 byes, meaning they don't have to go to Dayton. If you look at Mississippi State resume-wise, and this is something we were talking about yesterday when they were getting keyed up to play Florida, they have 4 Quad 1 wins. They're 4-7 in Quad 1. They did a lot of work in Quad 4 at 8-0, so that's not a great metric. But I think if Auburn is a 10, then Mississippi State is certainly in. Dayton, whatever. With more, I value who did you beat, not how many wins do you have or what's your record or win percentage. I want to know who you beat. I feel this way in basketball. I feel this way in baseball. I hate when the NCAA selection committee puts in lower-level teams that feasted on a garbage conference. Newsflash. Some of the big boys that don't have great records could go down there and do it too. I'm in Moscona's camp when it comes to, like, there's haves and have-nots. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time thinking about the have-nots when I'm talking about winning championships. And so I think Mississippi State is okay. I think things get a little dicey usually with Florida. They didn't, and I don't think you're going to get dinged for losing to Alabama. That's just not something the selection committee is going to ding you for, and it won't be a huge hit to their net either. So rest of the day in the Southeastern Conference tournament, where it really starts to heat up as the best teams in the conference start to play, and some of the lesser teams are headed home for the year. Tennessee and Missouri will play. Vols are a 5.5-point favorite. Curious to see, now that they've got a little bit of a rhythm without Zakai Ziegler, and they've played without him now a couple of times. He was actually out there on a scooter pregame yesterday. That's what they're going to have to play with in the NCAA tournament. So I'm curious to see how they look against a better team than Ole Miss today in Missouri. We'll see if Mizzou can shoot the lights out. And that's what it's going to take to beat Tennessee, and they did that in the conference opener this year. Arkansas and Texas A&M, I think, is a very, very good basketball game. The line on this one's interesting, and I think it tells you how Vegas perceives Arkansas now with Nick Smith, because Arkansas was 8-10 in the league, and Texas A&M was 15-3 in the league. That's a 7-game difference over 18 games, and this is a pick'em. Arkansas is going to be annoying to some good team in the tournament. Musselman has proven he can coach in that tournament. Back-to-back Elite Eights. They beat Gonzaga last year, lost to Duke in a close one. They're a nuisance this time of year, and they're finally as close to whole as they're going to be. They're not going to get Brazil back, obviously, but I'm fascinated to watch that one at 6 o'clock on the SEC Network. And then Vanderbilt will try to continue on and play Kentucky. Vanderbilt is, to me, not in the tournament right now. Lunardi feels the same way. He's got them in his next 4 out, so they've got a lot of work to do, but there's work to be done for them here. because you've got good teams left on your schedule, and they've played great basketball of late. The issue you're going to have with Vanderbilt right now, one, Robbins is out. Two, we watched this same song and dance with Texas A&M last year, and the committee didn't care about it. A&M got all the way to the final of the SEC tournament. They played well down the stretch, but they had a huge losing streak in the middle of the season, and the selection committee said, yeah, that ain't it. And that's the way I felt about it, too. Buzz almost started crying in the damn press conference, going through all the metrics. But you got to put an entire body to work together, and you've stood here, and yeah, you may have won 7 of 8, 8 of 9, but I'm still looking at this loss to Grambling State. I'm still looking at this loss to Southern Miss. That matters. Those games count. So Vanderbilt's net is not good. It's at 82, but they are 4-9 in Q1. So if they can get 2 more wins to get to 6 quad 1 wins, that's in to me. You're going to tell me Auburn's a slam dunk with 3 and they can double them? I think Vanderbilt can get in. Stackhouse just got to go recruit, man. He can coach them up. He's just got to go recruit. That's the issue. They just don't have the guys. Had enough guys to beat LSU last night, though. So that's your SEC tournament slate right now. Tide is up 19 points with 14 minutes to go in that game. Then you'll have Tennessee, Missouri. Then you'll have Arkansas A&M. And then you'll have Vanderbilt and Kentucky. Our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Drive on through or dine in their newly renovated dining room. It's on Government between Foster and Jefferson. Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp brings you our Friday shows here. All right, Tigers at the box. Last tune-up for a 3-game set before conference play cranks up. We know who's starting for LSU on Friday. We know who's starting for LSU on Saturday. I'll give you those names, plus what I think about this weekend to come. 6:30 first pitch tonight between LSU and Samford. I'll get you ready for it next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal, elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana. In March, we're telling you about Trey Godfrey. Trey is currently the Senior Vice President of Policy for the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, and his work over at BRAC, he oversees education policy, among some other things, and that allows him to make an impact from a more systemic perspective. Trey is truly a champion of Louisiana. We're pumped up to tell his story all March long. If you know someone like Trey Godfrey, or you know a business or a nonprofit that's doing some philanthropic work, bettering our state in some way, we want to tell their story, and LWCC, because they're a shining light in our state, is giving us the platform to do it. So go to lwcc.com/champions and nominate a champion of Louisiana. We'll tell their story, increase their profile, thanks to the folks over there at LWCC. Trey Godfrey is March's champion of Louisiana. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. The Riot Radio Hour is returned. We're previewing LSU Samford in baseball, recapping LSU Vandy and hoops. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jordan Spieth is something else to watch. Players' Championships going on. He just sliced his tee shot on a par 5. It was headed for the water. It hit a fan pretty hard. Bounced all the way back in the fairway. He then hit 3 wood up short of the green and chipped it in for eagle. So it went from going in the water to hitting a fan. We got a nice bruise from that one. He ends up making a 3. He's quite the artist with the golf club. LSU and Samford tonight, 3-game set. Game 1 is tonight at 6:30. You want to listen to it, you can catch it on our sister station, Eagle 98.1 pregame at 6 o'clock. Incidentally, I'll be on the call with Chris Blair tomorrow for a 6:30 game 2. Looking forward to that. Samford comes in at 6-6, another subpar team here on LSU's schedule. I think they're better than what we saw last weekend. Couldn't be much worse than what we saw last weekend, quite frankly. But not a great team. The one highlight, from an LSU perspective, Maurice Hampton does play for Samford. If you remember, the 5-star football recruit, potential first-round pick out of high school, doesn't even really start for Samford. So his athletic career is kind of taking a detour over there to Alabama. We'll see if we see him in any of the games this weekend. But again, Samford's 6-6. They lost 2 out of 3 to Memphis on opening weekend. Lost 2 out of 3 to Southeastern, which was in Hammond, America, a couple of weeks ago. And they did take 2 out of 3 last weekend from Morehead State. On Tuesday, they played Alabama, and they lost 11-6 in that one. You'll see Friday night guy Jacob Cravey tonight, big 6'6" right-hander. His numbers are pretty good. Last year, he started 15 games for him. He led the team in innings pitched and strikeouts. He currently leads the SoCon in strikeouts with 28 on the season. He's only allowed 8 hits in 16 2/3 innings. He has walked 10 guys. So I don't have any kind of scouting report on him in terms of what he throws, but he's 6'6", right-handed, and he's got some strikeouts. So got to be a step up, certainly from what LSU saw last week, especially last Friday night when they saw a guy that was throwing cotton balls up there for 4 innings. So Jacob Cravey tonight, then you'll see Brody Westbrooks on Saturday, big 6'3" right-hander. Hasn't pitched into the 5th inning yet. He's only allowed 1 run all year in 10 innings pitched. He's got 11 strikeouts. So maybe a little bit of a step up in the pitching department here from Samford. It's not really about Samford this week, though. It's about LSU and what they do, how they continue to progress in this season as they get ready to go to College Station next week. And so for me, I wrote down a couple things that I want to see for sure. I don't know if critical is the word. I just observed last week that Paul Skeens really threw nothing but fastballs against Butler. And the breaking balls he did throw were not his best. He got some swings and misses on them because those guys were so grossly overmatched. And they're trying to gear up for 100 miles an hour, and then you spin a slider, and even if it's not that good, the change of pace and the slight break, it just threw them all off. So I'd like to see Skeens execute the slider a little bit better this week as you get ready for a much better lineup next week. I'd love it if he could get through 6 or 7 innings tonight and really dominate as he has all year long. He leads the country in strikeouts, so he's been brilliant. I want to continue to see that and maybe a tick up from what we saw last week where I thought you really only got his B stuff. Yeah, he can throw 100, and that's awesome, and Butler can't hit it. But let's execute some secondary pitches tonight if you're Paul Skeens. We'll stay on the pitching side of things for things that I want to see for sure, and this is going to come as no surprise to those of you that listen frequently, daily, whatever it may be. I was really, really encouraged with what I saw from Thatcher Hurd on Monday of this week, and I would love to see it again on Sunday of this week, which would line him up to pitch next Sunday in College Station. That's my sincere hope. I believe that's going to happen, but LSU hasn't announced it. They have announced Skeens will go today. They have announced that Floyd will go tomorrow. They have not announced a Sunday starter. I would sincerely hope that it is Thatcher Hurd. And if we see the same guy stuff-wise on Sunday that we saw back on Monday, and he can get through 6 or 7 innings, you're going to hear a happy dude on these airwaves, on this microphone, in this time slot on Monday. I'll just tell you that. That's the missing piece for me right now. If they find that dominant second arm, and I think that Floyd has potential, Hurd's got a higher upside than Floyd. And if I don't care who pitches on Saturday, I don't care if it's Floyd on Saturday and Hurd on Sunday for the rest of the conference play. Like that, I don't care. I don't care if you flip-flop them. What matters to me is what order they pitch in the regional and what order they pitch in Omaha. But if you see a dominant Thatcher Hurd that's a big strikeout guy, 95 with a fastball, breaking balls unhittable, and you pair that with Paul Skeens, you've got absolutely the ingredients to win the national championship. Doesn't guarantee anything. Tennessee had it last year, and they didn't get out of a regional. We all know that. Super. We all know that. But I didn't have any questions about the lineup necessarily. I didn't have any questions about the talent on the pitching staff. I had questions about the proven commodities on the pitching staff. And you can't prove yourself against Samford, but you can start taking steps towards that. And if you can back up what I would call a brilliant outing on Monday with another one that looks like that, me personally, I will feel like LSU's turning a corner. Huge, huge thing for me. Hopefully we see Thatcher Hurd on Sunday. And then on the offensive side of things, there's one bat in particular that I'm looking for to emerge. Usually a freshman emerges. And to me, that guy is Paxton Kling. He's 9 for his last 13. That includes 2 doubles, a triple, and a couple of homers. Homered in back-to-back games, Monday and Wednesday. He's got all-world potential. I was talking to somebody inside the program back in January before they cranked this whole thing up. They said, and we were talking about players, and I mentioned Kling, and he goes, who, by the way, is a stud. And they know that. And that's the talent that you knew you were getting from Pennsylvania when he turned down a lot of money in the draft to come to college. And it was a rocky start, and that's okay. It's always different speeds. Some guys like Bregman are just ready to go right out of the chute. Cruz ready to go right out of the chute. Some guys, it takes some time. It took Mikey Mott took some time. Famously, Mikey was awful in his first fall. He's getting the biggest hit in Game 1 of the College World Series final. Game-winning hit up the middle. Starting in center field. That didn't happen until mid-spring. And I'm not saying that you go knock Central Connecticut State and Butler and Lamar all over the yard, that you've all of a sudden arrived as a player and there's no looking back. It's a runaway freight train. That's not what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is it's got to start somewhere. And 9 for 13 with 5 extra base hits, moving in the right direction. And you're starting to see some dominoes fall. We talked about all fall and then all offseason about the rotating positions. Well, I think they're going to play Milazzo and Neal at catcher. Well, you're seeing Neal start every game. I think they're going to have a 3-man rotation at second base. Well, Dugas has locked that down in the leadoff spot. So now you're starting to look at places where guys can fit left field, right field, first base DH, with the understanding that Morgan takes one of those spots. But you're running out of, things are getting locked down. And you better hit when you get your chance, or the next guy probably will, and you may sit on the bench for 3 weeks. And Kling, I think, needs to be in the lineup based on his upside and ability. There may be a hot streak like this and then a regression down for a couple of weeks like you've seen with Jared Jones. But I want to see it. I want to see Paxton Kling out there continuing to stay hot, because you knew they had enough pieces to form a great 9. You just didn't know exactly where they'd be, and they're starting to show themselves now. And all this stuff that we're talking about is just a product of where we are in the schedule. This is my least favorite part of the entire schedule. These 2 weeks were always going to be the worst. Opening weekend, yeah, I know Western Michigan stinks. I don't want to watch them play, but I got a brand new baseball team out here. Let's go. And the newness is right there. Then you had the tournament. That's a different change of pace, and that's exciting. And you see 3 different teams in a minor league ballpark, and then you come back home for the box, and you're going, okay, Butler, Central Connecticut State, Lamar, Samford. You got to get through it. And then we got A&M and Arkansas and Tennessee, and then we're off and running. You got to get through this, and these are some of the things that I'm looking for. And I mentioned Jared Jones there. I don't know that he's going to start tonight. Cade Beloso's probably earned that right. But I would really like to see him get 4 or 5 at-bats this weekend, just to see him shake through. It's a ceiling thing. It's an upside thing. Oh, she's going to handle their business against Samford. I would like to see the precocious 6'4", 6'5" freshman who can hit it 470 feet get some more swings. Work on the breaking stuff. You can't throw him back into the fire against A&M and Arkansas. That's not a very comfy place to try to find your swing again. Samford seems a little better. It'll be LSU in Samford tonight, 6:30, Saturday, 6:30, Sunday, 1 o'clock are your start times for the weekend. Again, I'll be on the call tomorrow, which I'm very, very much looking forward to. Our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Quick service fish and shrimp over there on Government Street. It is awesome. They got the honey butter rolls, which are fantastic. They've got your beignet bites, which are great. We stopped by last 2 weeks ago and got our Friday dinner from there, and it was A+. If you're looking for a Lenten dinner option, maybe a late lunch option, Cork's, try them out. Recipe born in the heart of South Louisiana, which is the seafood capital of the world. They'll make you proud. It is fantastic food over there from the guys who brought you Couillons, a barbecue. Our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. When we come back, I want to close out hour number 1 talking about the Saints quarterback spot. You thought they had that all figured out because they brought Carr in. Well, they're looking at another option here as a backup. I'll tell you who and whether or not it makes sense. That's next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me?
Charles Hannegriff joined me and Jimmy Ott for Jimmy Ott's Game Time from Walk-Ons on Burbank. Monday evening, we'll have the brackets set for the NCAA tournament. Jimmy Ott's Game Time, 6 p.m. weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Sometimes the pros are just like us on the golf course. Players' Championship going on over in Ponte Vedra. Max McGreevy today. May not have heard of him. That's okay. He's a professional golfer playing in the Players' Championship, biggest purse event of the entire calendar. Let me tell you about his round briefly before we get to the Saints. Started on number 10. He went bogey, par, bogey, par, triple bogey, par, par, bogey, bogey for a 43. That's like me on a Saturday. And I got news for you. It got worse. He went to his second 9, started on 1, bogey, par, bogey, double bogey, triple bogey, double bogey, par, double bogey, birdie. Birdied the last to shoot 89. On a stretch from number 4 to number 8 at TPC, he went double, triple, double, par, double. 3 doubles and a triple in a 5-hole stretch. That is a year for golfers. That is a tough scene. 89 for Max McGreevy today. I don't think he'll be making the cut. You can probably make some dinner reservations for this evening and have a few glasses of wine. He won't have to play anymore. All right, the Saints are looking at options as a backup quarterback to Derek Carr, and the first one that they're apparently looking into is a guy they've got under contract right now, Jameis Winston. Now, Jameis may not want to take that role as a backup, but that may be where he is right now. The Saints were the team that took the swing on him, and they quit on him. I don't have another way to say it. I think Jameis could have played at the end of last year, and they decided to go with Andy Dalton. So, if the Saints think that of him, they've seen him for 3 years, what does the rest of the league think? So, they're looking to restructure the deal, obviously. They're not going to pay him starting quarterback money with Derek Carr around. If the Saints cut Winston without using the post-June 1 designation, they're only going to save $4.4 million against the cap. If they do use that designation, they'll have to keep the $15.6 million cap hit on the books until the summer in June 2nd, and then they get $12.8 million in savings. But that'd be after free agency and after the draft, and they need that money to go sign people. So I think time is of the essence here for the Saints. But is it best for Jameis? If the Saints are going to ask him to take a pay cut, reduce his base from like it's close to $12.8 million, and move it down to like 2.53, which is basically in line with everybody in the league is what they're paying their backups, he might look at that and go, I'm going to go see if somebody wants me to come start. So it's going to be interesting. I think Jameis is a great backup quarterback. I mean, what has the Saints' quarterback injury history been over the last 5 years? You've seen Teddy play. You've seen Taysom play. You had Ian Book out there. I will never forget that game because I was sitting in the hospital with a 1-day-old. And Ian Book's out there playing the Dolphins just looking quite poor. But the Saints have had, you've got COVID issues. You got injury issues. They've had them almost every year. And Jameis is a functional backup quarterback. I'd always said, I don't know that I trusted him to be the franchise quarterback moving forward for the Saints. He's tough for me to take totally seriously with the motivational speeches that we've seen, some of the quotes. I just have a hard time wrapping my head around it. Apparently, he's been nothing but pure class the entire time he's been there. Great in the city, great with the media, great with the teammates. He had the one quote where he said, I lost my job because of injury, or that's not supposed to happen. But he was frustrated. I don't think that's a terrible thing to say. So, I don't know the guy, and apparently he's been great. I just don't know that I want him lead my team. And then you factor in the interceptions, and those came back up in week 1 this past year against Tampa. But as a backup for $3 million, hell yeah. Sounds good to me. That's plenty of talent. There are teams that would do a lot better served with their backup than to have Jameis Winston. So it's just a matter of the relationship with the organization and what Jameis sees his worth as. Because clearly the Saints don't see it as much at all. That's why he never got a shot again in the second half of the season. So you're talking about $3 million to be a backup. I think the Saints would be in line with that. The question is how Jameis views it. How does he feel about the organization? And what does he think his worth is? If there's just a lot of really good relationships in that building, then maybe it makes a lot of sense. I have a hard time believing that. I have a hard time believing Jameis Winston at this point in his career. How old is Jameis Winston? Like 30? Jameis Winston age. 29. He's got plenty of football left at that position. And I just don't know if he's going to resign himself to knowing he's the backup. I can see a situation where he goes somewhere to potentially compete, which we'll see how the draft shakes out and what that looks like. I think that if you want to have an opportunity to be the starting quarterback when a late first-round pick or second-round pick maybe is being groomed and you can play. But if you come to New Orleans, you are in a way lighting your significant football playing and earning potential on fire. Because he's not going to play. At least you got a chance if you go somewhere else. You come sit behind Derek Carr and put a baseball hat on. What does that tell the rest of the league? Some people are fine with that. Chase Daniel's doing great. But I just don't think Jameis is going to think that way. So to me, I think it's unlikely, in my opinion, that the Saints can restructure that contract down to $3 million and say, hey, come sit on the bench. That to me seems unlikely. But we'll see. Saints looking to get this done here in the next couple of days. And we'll obviously keep you updated on that next week. So, interesting story just came out. The Athletic does it every year. Bruce Feldman and the team over there. They come up with the top 25 coaches in college football at this very moment. I saw the headline, clicked it, and handed my phone to Taylor Sharp. Taylor wrote down the top 10. I then went to my desk and tried to come up with what I thought their top 10 would be. We'll see how I do at the top of hour number 2. Taylor is shaking his head violently. I'm going to lead off that discussion in the top of the next hour with one name that better not be on that list. So we're going to start there, and then we'll see how I work through it. I'm looking forward to seeing if I make a huge fool out of myself, which I'm fine with. It's a Friday. We can do that. I might go 2 for 10. Got a feeling I know 2 of them that are on there. But we'll see how I do at the top of hour number 2. If you missed any of the show in the first hour, you can always catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you find your podcast. you can find us. You can always find us on YouTube as well. Every show in its entirety is uploaded to our channel every day, as well as a couple of segments a day that Taylor does a good job of chopping up and putting on our channel. If we could subscribe to the channel, we'd really appreciate it. It's right there below the feed. Those of you hanging out in the Bayou Ford chat, I see you. I appreciate you. If you want to throw us a like and subscribe to the channel, that would make me even happier on this Friday. And isn't that what we want? Open things up with a hoops reaction from last night. Tiger season is over. They lose to Vanderbilt. And a little SEC basketball talk right now. If you look up, Alabama is cruising over Mississippi State. It is 57-43, 13-point lead with 4 minutes to go. So it looks like Alabama likely moving on to the weekend. Then I talked to LSU baseball at 1:30, LSU and Samford this weekend, what I'm expecting to see. Second hour is coming at you. There's a lot of football. We'll get to those top 10 coaches in college football. JD Piquell chatted with Brian Kelly. We had him all football season on Wednesdays. He of On3 Sports. We'll chat with him about what he took from Brian Kelly and what he sees from LSU this spring as well. Plus SEC baseball coming up this weekend. I'll get you primed for it. Our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Stop on by for a late lunch or go ahead and get you some dinner. It's right there on Government between Foster and Jefferson. Sports Center, top 10 football coaches in America. That's next with the Hunt Palmer Show.
I've got that blue sky. I've got that sunshine.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today. Or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Dolphins pick up the fifth-year option on quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. That guarantees his $23.4 million salary for 2024. 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy had surgery today on a torn ligament in his right elbow. He got hurt in the first quarter of the NFC Championship game against the Eagles. Purdy should be able to start throwing in about 3 months. So what will the Jets do if they don't get Aaron Rodgers? Peter King from Football Morning in America believes they might turn to Jimmy Garoppolo.
Garoppolo will get a lot of attention early on, but and I'm sure the Jets are going to want to know the answer from Aaron Rodgers no later than Sunday night.
Peter King. ESPN has learned Georgia Tech will fire basketball coach Josh Pastner after 7 seasons with the Yellow Jackets. World #1 golfer Jon Rahm withdraws from the Players' Championship today with a stomach illness.
Get ready for Champions, the hilarious new movie starring Woody Harrelson. Woody's a hot-headed basketball coach who's in over his head when he's court-ordered to manage a team with intellectual disabilities and a whole lot of attitude. Champions, only in theaters Friday. Rated PG-13.
Now, Hunt Palmer. Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Working towards the weekend. It is a Friday. Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, downtown in the capital city. Hope your week is ending on a high note. We're cruising on into the weekend. It is springtime. Get out there, get some crawfish, something cold to drink, play some golf, watch some baseball, a little conference tournament action. Great time of year. Can't wait to get out to the box tomorrow, do a little radio with the voice. But now we're talking some football. We'll talk more football with JD Piquell in 30 minutes as he was chatting with Brian Kelly over the course of this week about the Tigers starting up spring football. So Bruce Feldman and his team at The Athletic every year put out top 25 coaches in college football. I came up with the idea that I would let Taylor see the list, he would make notes, and then I would try to guess the top 10. Taylor seems to think I have no chance at doing very well at
So
this.
you get only 10 guesses and
I'll
you
get-
got to go.
I'll-
Because
I
you
want-
said you were going to get all 10.
Yes.
I don't think you are.
I'm going to So let's see if I can do it in 12 guesses. Get
Okay,
their
I'm
top
setting
10
the over
in
under
12
for
guesses.
you at 6.5. I think you.
That's terrible.
I think you'll get at least 6, probably 7. There's 3 that I would not have put on this list. But
Well, all right. First of all, and I mentioned this at the end of the hour, I want to make sure that one of these is not in the top 10. Before I get into my guesses, this is not a guess. I'm just going to be furious if he's in.
All right, let's hear it.
Not a guess. Tell me that Pat Fitzgerald is not in the top 10.
he's not in the top 10.
Goodness gracious. The man's got a tough job. They're 4-20 over the last 2 years. Can we stop going nuts over this? They're not that good, okay? In the last 4 seasons, they've got a 1-11, a 3-9, and another 3-9. So, no Pat Fitzgerald. All right.
Okay, now are we starting at 1 or are we starting at 10?
I'm starting at 1.
Okay.
I think they don't have the gumption to knock Nick out of the number 1 slot. I'm going with Nick Saban at number 1.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he's in
All right, good. All right. I do think they feel now that after back-to-back titles that Kirby has moved to number 2.
Kirby is number 2.
All right, he's got a hot start. That's 2 for 2. All right, this is where you got to start making some real guesses. They're not what they were a few years ago, but they're still pretty damn good. So I'm going to go with Dabo Swinney at 3.
All right, you got the easy ones out the way.
All right,
is number
Dabo
3.
is at 3. All right, now let's start cooking. I got a few here. I'm going to stick to my list. Look, it's hard to argue with the results in the regular season the last couple of years and what they've done to their rival. I'm going with Jim Harbaugh at number 4 here.
He shouldn't be, but yes, he's number 4.
Number 4. He is on fire. That is 4 in a row. I don't feel as good now moving forward. Yeah, I don't love this spot. This one's tough, but look, they win a ton of games. He didn't have any jewelry, but they're winning a lot of games. I'm going to go Ryan Day at 5. Is he in the top 10?
Ryan Day's in the top 10.
All
He
right,
is
that's
not
a check,
5.
but he's not 5. So that's a check for the top 10. At number 6, again, no jewelry here, but a lot of hardware for his players. I'm going to go Lincoln Riley at 6.
Riley's 7.
So I'm 6 for 6 on top 10.
Oh, and Ryan Day was wound up being 6. Ryan Day was 6.
Okay.
Riley is
so
7.
I've missed 5. Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to go at number 7. I think he gets some credit for what went on last year. He's won a bajillion games. I'm going to go Brian Kelly is in the top 10. I've got him at 7.
He's in the top 10. He's 8.
Okay. So I'm 7 for 7. I've already beaten your over-under. That's excellent work. I'm going to go here with a guy with no jewelry, but a track record of sustained high-level football. I'm going to go Kyle Whittingham for number 8.
Did not think you would get that, but he is in there. He's at 9.
He's at number 9. So that is 8 for 8. Now, I don't feel as good about the other 2. And especially coming off that year, it's going to be tough to do it. But he's got jewelry. I'm going Jimbo Fisher at number 9. Is he in the top 10?
You're going to love this. Jimbo's not in the top 10.
Oh, Jimbo, my first misfire at number 9. I had gone 8 for 8, and then this one I feel horrible. I've got a name down here for number 10, but I'm going to hold my horses. I'm going to go through the list. I'm not going to look at you. Don't do any facial expressions or nods. I'm going through my list for the listener. The names that I've got here in no particular order that I could go with, now that I can take Pat Fitzgerald off the list, thank you very much. I think Matt Rule is interesting because he's back in college football. Luke Fickell has won a lot of games. I don't know how it went last year. Mike Norvell is kind of hot at Florida State right now. Mac Brown, that sounds stupid. Hugh Freeze is back, and he won a lot of games at Liberty, and he's won a lot of games at Ole Miss. So that's another name. Those are the ones I'm kicking around. I'm going to go – I can't pull the trigger on Hugh Freeze there. I'm going to go Mike Norvell at 10.
Mike Norvell is not in the top 10.
Not in the top 10, so my misses.
8 of 10.
I got 8 of 10 on my 10 guesses, but I said I got 12 guesses, so I'm going to go with 2 more. Give me Matt Rule.
Matt Rule is not in the top 10.
Matt Rule won 1,000,000 games at Temple, and he took over a disaster at Baylor and was great.
It's probably because he just got back.
He did. So that's a miss there. So obviously I'm not swimming up the right stream. I'll go with Hugh Freeze. Is he in the top 10?
He is not.
All right. So that
was 12 guesses.
That's 12 guesses. So I got
8 out of 10.
8 of the 10, which is a fairly good effort.
I thought you would get 7. So you did a little better than I thought.
Okay, so give me the other 2 in the top 10.
Number 10, Lance Leopold at Kansas.
Bro, I don't just.
I don't like. He had one good year.
Just don't.
Wasn't that great.
In the top 10?
He is at number 10.
All right, now I have the article in front of me and I'm scrolling through. So
number
Lance
5.
Leopold. And number 5 is who? I scrolled through.
I don't think he should be on the list at all, but James Franklin is number 5.
I wrote his name down right here.
I think that's way too high.
James Franklin.
He's above Ryan Day, Lincoln Riley, and Brian Kelly.
In my opinion, the job that James Franklin did at Vanderbilt far supersedes what he's done at Penn State, where they've just been pretty good. In my opinion, Penn State has underperformed. One of the things that I take very much into consideration when I consider jobs is in-state talent. And Pennsylvania has a lot of in-state talent. And you can dip into Ohio pretty quick from Pennsylvania, and they've got a lot of really good players. So to me, I mean, New Jersey's got some pretty good high school football as well. Like, they're just simply not in the stratosphere that Ohio State and Michigan have ascended to. So for me, to have him that high is not – I disagree. But I'm reading the Lance Leopold at number 10, and Feldman says, I was struggling to find someone for the number 10 spot. After writing up 5 or 6 coaches, I started working on Leopold's capsule and realized he's the guy. He's been a miracle worker in Lawrence. Last year, they went to their first bowl game since 2008, cracked the top 25 for the first time in 13 years. They went 6-7. Program hadn't won more than 3 games in a dozen years. That is
I get that they
something
hadn't won
else.
that many games, but he still went.
And then we
6
start
and
going
7.
through Wisconsin Whitewater, MAC Coach of the Year at Buffalo. I'm just, again, it goes back to I'm biased towards the big dogs. I just don't think you prove yourself winning 6 games. I think you prove yourself when you win 11 or 12. You prove yourself doing what Brian Kelly and Jim Harbaugh have done. And I realize they're at far superior places at Kansas, and you can't do that at Kansas, but that's...
Now, I haven't seen the list. Is Jimbo Fisher in the top 25?
Okay, I've got the list here. So let me go from we've done the top 10. So Luke Fickell's 11. He was on my list. Dave Clawson's a name I thought about at Wake Forest. They've got him at 12. Chris Kleeman at Kansas State at 13. Chip Kelly at UCLA at 14. Okay,
I don't like that.
Whatever. Matt Rule comes in at 15. A dismal 11-27 run with the Panthers. Should not cloud what a terrific job Rule's done in college. I agree with that. Kalen DeBoer at Washington is 16. I didn't think about him. Jimbo Fisher, number 17.
Yeah, too high.
It says in the blurb, the Aggies are paying him a fortune, and so far he's been a monumental disappointment. Fisher's on his 6th season in College Station and really only has 1 good year to show for it. That's true. He's given the keys of his offense to Bobby Petrino in hopes that the Aggies can get a desperately needed jump start. So you got Fisher at 17. Mark Stoops, not a name I considered. Bloom kind of fell off the rose there. You got your quarterback in place, and they stunk last year. Hugh Freeze is at 19. I considered Sonny Dykes, but I don't think 1 year should do it, so they got him at 20. Mike Norvell at 21. I guessed him in the top 10. That's not great. I just thought that what they did last year in their preseason ranking, plus what he did at Memphis, might knock him over. Josh Heupel at 22. Kirk Ferentz at 23. Give me a break. Brett Bielema at 24. And Troy Calhoun at Air Force at 25. Calhoun has never gotten a big job, which he's been good at Air Force for a long time. But that's interesting. So I got 8 out of 10. I mean, that's a passing grade for sure.
No, it's better than I thought. I didn't think you would get Whittingham, and I'm impressed that you did.
The national media loves Whittingham, and let's be honest, like they're good. I mean, they're good every year. They're never good enough to do anything of great significance, but they're always a good football team, and they beat somebody every year. They're physical. They're just pretty well coached.
Well, so that's why I said 7. I knew you weren't getting Franklin. I knew you weren't getting Leopold. Didn't think you were going to get Whittingham. So.
I actually, when I started, I made my top 10 list on the right side of the paper. On the left side, I just wrote a ton of coaches that came to mind, and Franklin was the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8th one I wrote down. I just didn't use him because I got to Ryan Day, Whittingham, Fickell, Norvell after that, so I didn't. Quite honestly, if you had to take your football program and you had to coach Nebraska, would you rather hire James Franklin or Hugh Freeze? I don't care. You just have to win. It's the only thing you have is win.
Hugh Freeze.
I would too. They've been to the Rose Bowl a couple of times. They never beat anybody. They get these whiteouts in big games. They never win, I feel like.
No, because they always wear the whiteout against Ohio State, and they lose by 30.
I'd like to go to a whiteout someday. I know I never will.
No, it looks fun.
But,
it's just don't do the Ohio State game.
I mean, he did a phenomenal job at Vanderbilt. He caught it at a time where Tennessee was totally lost. Georgia was at the end of Richt, and Florida had some, I think it was like Muschamp. They weren't very good.
It was either Muschamp or McElwain.
Yeah, McElwain sounds right. And it was just, he was able to win some games in a division that, that was down. But he's his grade for me at Penn State is a B-. And he had 1 year. They bottomed out in the COVID year, which I don't care about, but they just haven't been great.
I think a B- is a little generous. I'd probably give him a C, C+.
Okay, I can't fight you on that, but I think I wouldn't put him as high up as they have him. So 8 out of 10, we'll take that. It's not terrible. We'll get you ready for SEC baseball this weekend, and JD Piquell talking LSU football coming up in 15 minutes. Want to remind you our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. You're down here in South Louisiana and you're thinking, I'm not going through a drive-thru to get fried fish and fried shrimp. Try it once. This is not like your national competitors. Try it once over there at Cork's. They've got a recipe that was born here in South Louisiana. They've got clean fried fish. It doesn't have that fishy, muddy taste to it. It's clean. It's delicious. It's crispy. And the shrimp are from right here in the Gulf, and they are big, and they are flavorful. It is fantastic. And I told you in the first hour about the special they've got going right now. If you're looking for something for your Lenten feast, I got you covered. over there at Corks. They've got their classic, famous baked potato topped with Louisiana crawfish etouffee and Gulf fried shrimp. I chuckle a little bit at giving up meat being a sacrifice and then like overly indulging in seafood in that way on a Friday, but hey, if you're going to do it, Corks is your spot. You can drive through. They've got a brand new renovated dining room. It's a great spot over there. So give Corks a try. I promise you, you will not regret it. We appreciate those guys for sponsoring our shows here on Friday. CorksFishandShrimp.com is where you can check out the menu. Highly recommend you do so. When we come back, SEC Baseball Talk is coming up next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathandClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team in the game for 3 decades, helping you with your bathroom renovations and your closet redesigns. Maybe it's just a tub to shower conversion, something fairly quick, changes the functionality and the look of your bathroom. You take that tub out, put in a gorgeous walk-in shower. Maybe it's a full-scale renovation. They're licensed contractors at One Bath and Closets. They can do it. It's one call, it's one contractor, it's One Bath and Closets. And maybe you need your closet redesigned, reorganized. You just don't have the space. You don't know how to use the space that you have. Starts with a free consultation. Doesn't cost you a cent. They'll tell you what they can do to customize your closet to your needs. Shelves, lights, cubbies, tie racks, whatever you need. They can get it done for you over there at One Bath and Closets. If you tell them the Hunt Palmer Show sent you over there, you're not going to pay for the rip out of your current closet. You're not going to pay for the labor and the installation of the new one. You're just going to pay for the cost of that unit. Give David Duvall and his team a call or go to the website. It's onebathandclosets.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Don't miss the LHSAA Boys Select Division I Basketball Championship game between the number 1 seeded Scotlandville Hornets and the 3-seeded Catholic High Bears this Saturday at 6 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You know that last weekend before Thanksgiving, when all the SEC teams play nobody in football, they're all getting ready for rivalry week, and you got a bunch of South Alabama and Troy and a lot of Samford, for instance. That's what this weekend feels like in SEC baseball. It is after 3 weeks of a lot of teams playing tournaments, some high-profile Arizona State coming in and that kind of stuff, UCLA coming across, USC coming in, tournaments in Frisco, Arlington, Houston, Round Rock. This is a whole bunch of nothing on the schedule this weekend, so I kind of highlighted a couple things that I'll be looking for in the Southeastern Conference. First of all, when we come around to June, and we're all looking at RPIs and hosting possibilities and top 8 seed stuff, and you wonder how you're going to stack up. For SEC fans right now, even though I have to hold my nose to do it, you got to pull for your conference so things look pretty good on the metric sheets. And the SEC has been very, very good in the non-conference. 152-33 thus far in non-conference games. The SEC has won 82% of its games. You've got series wins over Arizona State. You got series wins over UCLA. You got series win against USC. Ole Miss went up there and swept up in Minneapolis. Vanderbilt won a couple of games up in Minneapolis. LSU won 2 games in Round Rock. A&M won a couple of games in Houston. So it's been a good non-conference run for the SEC. I despise them all with a great deal of passion, but we need them to look pretty good on the metric sheets, and things look pretty good right now. 82% winning percentage for the league as they enter the last non-conference weekend of the year. The biggest series, in my opinion, of this weekend is Louisiana Tech going to Arkansas. Tech's 8-4. They swept Northwestern out of the Big Ten, not Natchitoches. Got to make that stipulation. They obviously had the debate with Ole Miss last week. They beat Ole Miss in Game 1. Game 2, they take the lead in the 7th, but the rains come. They have to revert to the score in the 6th, and Ole Miss is awarded the win, even though Tech scored more runs on that Wednesday. But they're going to go to Arkansas, and they're going to play a weekend series. Arkansas is in a world of hurt in terms of their bullpen. Brady Tigert is out for a month and a half. He's their closer, and their best reliever to this point has been Cody Frank, and he's out for the year. Got him as a transfer in the offseason, and he's not going to pitch. So your 2 best bullpen bullets plus your ace are not pitching for Arkansas right now. And incidentally, they're not going to be ready for LSU either. Frank's out for the year. So is Jackson Wiggins, and Tiger's not going to be ready for LSU. So this is a weakened Arkansas pitching staff, and Tech can hit. So we'll see Hagen Smith tonight on the bump for Arkansas. He's taking the reins on Fridays for him and is a veteran arm and a good one. And we'll see what Tech can do up there in Fayetteville. Those are games that are very, very important to them, as they were likely to be on the bubble in some capacity because of where their program is and what their conference setup is. So big weekend up in Fayetteville for those 2 teams. Mississippi State is playing Lipscomb, and I don't care about that at all. We know that Mississippi State's had their issues pitching and playing defense for sure, but this will be the second Friday in a row where they will hand the ball to Jerangelo Sanger. And if you're not familiar with Jerangelo Sanger, I talked about him a couple of weeks ago on the show a couple of times. I think some of you are. Some of you may not be. He pitches with both arms, and he is a freshman. He throws 94, 95 miles an hour right-handed and 90, 91 left-handed, and has a good breaking ball from both sides. It looks a little more impressive from the right side, but he's perfectly capable of doing it from the left side. He's got a customized glove that he can put on both hands, and depending on what the batter shows and where they hit from, he just goes to the correct hand. And it's really something to watch, and he is now taking the reins as their Friday night guy for a second week in a row, so curious to see how he looks against Lipscomb. I think Mississippi State's in trouble. I don't think they're very good. I think they've got an above-average offense and a well below average SEC pitching staff, and their defense at this point has been absolutely abysmal. So I think they're in some trouble, but we'll see against Lipscomb. They hand the ball to Jerangelo Sanger. tonight, and he'll go out there with both arms and see what he can do. I have one small complaint with the Southeastern Conference to this point. Who is in charge of scheduling for Kentucky? Why are we opening the season at Elon? And why are we spending week 4 of the season at Southern Illinois in Carbondale? Who is putting this on the schedule? You want to go play a Big Ten team or something? Maybe. Iowa looks pretty good this year. You want to put that on the schedule? I'll live, even though I don't think it's a great idea. Southern Illinois, the Salukis? Why are we going there? Play games at home. You got a nice new ballpark. I don't get this at all. Maybe once. 2 times out of 4? No chance. Carbondale. Heard it's lovely this time of year. UK will find out as they play Southern Illinois this weekend. And the murderer's row that is Bama's non-conference schedule continues this weekend as they play 2-5 Columbia in Tuscaloosa. My gut tells me, and we'll find out next week because they're going to Gainesville. And we'll find out just how real this Alabama team is. We talked yesterday to Joe Healy about it. I've kind of looked through the stats. I've seen some video highlights. Their schedule is so bad that it's hard to draw anything from it, but they are crushing teams. And I think they're good. It surprises me to say that. It looks like the top 2 guys in the rotation, hit especially, are plus arms, and they're hitting like crazy. So, again, would I be shocked if they're a 16-14 team? No. At this point, would I be shocked if they're a 19-11 team? No, I wouldn't. I'd be shocked if they were a 10-20 team. I think they're probably a team that's going to be bidding for a potential host. But, again, we'll find out. We're certainly not going to find out as they welcome Columbia to town. I don't think that's going to be the ticket I need to figure out whether or not this Alabama team can play. But, again, up and down the schedule, it is a really poor weekend. The only series you could even get a slight bit of interest in here is Louisiana Tech at Arkansas, because the Bulldogs can really hit, and this Arkansas pitching staff is in a world of hurt. I'll run through the entirety of the slate for you just to show you how poor it is. Missouri's hosting the New Jersey Institute of Technology, NJIT. Again, Kentucky's at Southern Illinois. Arkansas hosting Tech. Georgia's got Charleston Southern. Vanderbilt hosting Loyola Marymount. Morehead State is in Knoxville to play Tennessee. Siena is at Florida. Columbia is at Bama. Lipscomb at Mississippi State. Southeastern against Auburn. Northern Kentucky is playing A&M. Bethune-Cookman's playing South Carolina. And Purdue is at Ole Miss. And I don't know that Purdue is very good. So it's just one more tune-up for all these teams before we really start to play for keeps next week in conference play. And that cannot get here quickly enough, quite frankly. Cannot get here quickly enough. Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Stop on by for a late lunch or for dinner. They got that delicious baked potato covered in crawfish etouffee with Gulf fried shrimp on top. Whew, cannot beat that over there at Cork's. All right, JD Piquell, our guy from On3 Sports. We had him on every single Wednesday during football season. He sat down with Brian Kelly via Skype. The video's up on YouTube. I tweeted it out yesterday, so y'all can go check it out. But first, let's hear from JD. We'll do that next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset.
Charles Hannegriff, join us for the Monday edition of Hanny Time. The field of 68 will be set. Plus, we'll recap the final non-conference weekend for LSU baseball. Hanny Time, noon weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Game number 2 about to tip off in Nashville, Tennessee, and Missouri from Bridgestone Arena. Not a huge game for either team, as they're pretty well set for their NCAA tournament hopes. Let's go out to the Jim's Firearms Hotline. JD Piquell, our guy during football season, host of the Hard Count on the On3 YouTube channel. JD, do you do any basketball, any baseball, any soccer, or we just football all the time?
Man, we're football all the time, but the beautiful news is it sounds like college basketball season is about to start here in like a few days. So I'm fired up, man. It's going to be good. I can't wait. It's been too long.
How about those Thanksgiving week tournaments? You're not focused on anything else. So you got college basketball, huh?
Yeah. That's
you're locked
that's
into the Maui Invitational.
Soft rims, I've heard in Kauai or wherever they are. But,
Maui. There you go.
Yeah, there it is. So I'm glad that it's back.
Well, spring football cranked up down in Baton Rouge this week. We went out there and saw him run around a little bit on Wednesday. You sat down with Brian Kelly as part of your show and chatted with him for quite a few minutes. What was your biggest takeaway from chatting with Coach Kelly?
You know, I think one of the intriguing takeaways was there's not going to be a quarterback derby, especially with just how talented Garrett Nussmeier is and what we saw him do in the SEC title game. You think, like, oh, maybe, just maybe, Garrett Nussmeier goes out there and has a great spring, does give a chance to push Jane Daniels, and mean, that was at least my thought process a little bit. You have to at least take that into account. But, I mean, he was very direct, saying, Garrett Nussmeier is going to get first-team reps because he's got to grow, and it's hard to grow if you're not working with the first team. But, hey, JD5 is our quarterback. We're going to roll with him. And so that was cool to learn, but not a tremendous surprise. It's interesting that he went out to say as much in that kind of setting.
Let's play a little game here in reference to Jaden Daniels, because I think it's always very interesting to me that the national media and those that follow the sport are really impressed by Jaden Daniels. And a lot of folks down in Baton Rouge are a little frustrated. He holds on to the ball, a little indecisive, a little careful, relies on his legs too much, and there's a little bit of frustration. They just want to see somebody come out there and air it out, I think, at times. So you're part of this national group that keeps an eye on the entire country. I'll let you tailor an offense to any quarterback skill set. So don't get pigeonholed into the offense they're currently in or LSU's offense. Just you can build the offense around them, and we'll play with some quarterbacks around the SEC. Would you rather have Jaden Daniels or Spencer Sanders, who likely is Ole Miss's quarterback next year?
Man, I'll go with Jaden Daniels, and that's not because y'all are based in Baton Rouge. Like, just genuinely, I used to live in Big 12 country and would see Spencer Sanders hype every single year. Would come around. Hey, he's played so many games. He's so athletic. Like, my thing is, he just doesn't make great decisions with the football. Like, time and time again, we've seen Spencer Sanders put the ball in harm's way. And so while I do think he'll be successful in that system at Ole Miss, I have too many reservations about his lack of conservative effort with the football. Whereas I know, like you said, LSU fans, even Brian Kelly said on the show, like, hey, we need him to push the ball vertical a little bit more, need to kind of unhitch the wagon, so to speak. I would like to see more wagon hitching for a guy like Spencer Sanders. I think that could serve him well at Ole Miss.
Jaden Daniels or Spencer Rattler?
Ooh, see, that's a tough one.
It would not have been tough as of October 30th, but then all of a sudden down the stretch, Rattler found something. I don't know what happened, but they all of a sudden started playing great.
Isn't that the truth? Man, I'll go Jaden Daniels because of the mobile element. Spencer Rattler, like you said, you take away that 2-game sample size, and we think about him very differently probably at South Carolina. We think very differently about, his potential of what he could have been in the NFL and all that. So I'll say Jaden Daniels again, not because we're on a Baton Rouge show, but I'll say Jaden Daniels because of what he brings to you from a conservative standpoint as a passer. Doesn't turn the ball over, and he also is a great runner. So I'll go Jaden Daniels there. Right now, we're riding the Jaden Daniels train in this game. I like this game.
Jaden Daniels or a healthy, which we did not see a lot of last year, KJ Jefferson?
Ooh, I'll go KJ Jefferson here. I loved what he did in 2021, and especially early in 2022, he was a force. I don't know if that Alabama game turns out a little bit differently if he's able to play the duration of the game, but I'll say KJ Jefferson there. I really am excited about what he could be in 2023. And 2022 felt like it was maybe going to be the year for him. We'll see how he looks under a new OC, but I'll go KJ Jefferson here.
Last one, KJ Jefferson or the record-setting quarterback in Starkville, Will Rogers?
Man.
Very different players.
It's a good question. I'll go with the experience of KJ Jefferson. I like KJ Jefferson and what he's done in the SEC. If he's healthy, I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the country, not just the SEC. I know he's got some growing to do still as a passer, but we'll go KJ Jefferson for the sake of that one.
What about Rodgers versus Daniels?
I'll take Daniels. Again, I'm not sold on Will Rogers. Truthfully, I probably didn't get to watch enough Will Rogers last year. I'm curious to see how he looks this coming season and how they potentially could adjust that offense in 2023. I mean, because he put up great numbers, obviously, but when you throw in the football he'd rather play, you wonder how much of that is legit. So I'll say Jaden Daniels by nature of the unknown with Will Rogers.
Chatting with JD Piquell, the host of the Hard Count on On3 Sports YouTube channel. Check out his interview with Brian Kelly. You can find it on my Twitter, or just go to their YouTube channel and find that interview that he sat down with Brian Kelly earlier this week. When you were prepping for that interview, JD, what was the one question you couldn't wait to ask Brian Kelly?
I think the quarterback battle was one thing, or maybe will there be a quarterback battle? Is Jaden Daniels going to be your starter? That was just intriguing to me, again, just going back to the unknown of, hey, Garrett Nussmeier, at some point in time, is either going to make LSU fans very happy for playing for them, or he's going to make another fan base happy should he choose to end up going somewhere else to play at some point in time. And you hope that's not in the near future if you're an LSU fan. But just having someone of his caliber behind Jaden Daniels and having wide receivers that need to see the football consistently and not knowing exactly how conservative Jaden Daniels would be, that was something I was really curious to ask. And also just how the styles adapted for him coming from a place like Notre Dame to LSU. Obviously, before a conversation like that, you go and listen to other people's conversations and, what did they ask? And he had an interview with, I believe it was Tom Rinaldi, who's now at Fox now, and he asked him a good question, said, what was the most critical comment that maybe, you objected to? And it was that he wasn't a good recruiter, was Brian Kelly's answer. And so here now he's had to adapt coming from a place like Notre Dame where, let's be real. Your hands are tied to a degree that they're not LSU in terms of, the access you have to talent and the rigors that come with a place like Notre Dame. The LSU is able to get just better talent and recruiting. And so how he's adapted, I think, was a curious thought for me. And it seems like he's adapted really well, obviously, especially with the season they had in 2022.
One of the talented guys that they brought in recruiting was Harold Perkins, and we saw him burst on the scene last year. Put your Matt House defensive coordinator hat on. How would you use Harold Perkins down in, down out in your defense?
Gosh, that's a great question. I think it probably depends on who we're playing. I loved so much seeing him spy Bryce Young and then spy Malik Hornsby last year in the Arkansas game. Like, he really is just the ace of spades. He really is the answer to whatever the offense wants to try and do because of how multiple he can be. So whenever he was assigned with trying to take care of one of those athletes at quarterback, I thought you got to see some of his best instincts shine. And for that reason, I think I would use him as that kind of linebacker player that's still able to rush the passer and just be flexible with those athletes at quarterback. But no, Harold Perkins, it's funny, he's must-see TV on the defensive side of the ball, which I don't think gets talked about very much, especially in the collegiate game since Tyrann Mathieu? He is so fun to watch. Got to keep an eye on. Now he's number 4 this year, it sounds
He
like.
is,
but
yeah.
40 last year was a guy.
Little number switch there for Harold Perkins, chatting with JD Piquell, the hard count, part of 1-3 Sports. You've got the right to change your mind before SEC Media Days and certainly preseason picks of next year. But as we sit here today, before you've dove into spring football and all that, will you give strong consideration to picking LSU to win the SEC West next year? Because there's some thought around here that may be the case because of Alabama's quarterback situation and what they've got to replace, and LSU's got a little bit more stability there.
Yeah, you have to. It's tough because it's kind of that one in the hand versus two in the bush, right? Hey, it is Nick Saban, and he has historically bounced off of double-digit loss, double or multiple loss seasons really well, and he is the GOAT. But then also you're like, well, LSU brings back Jaden Daniels, Harold Perkins going to be in the second year. You have continuity on the offense and defensive side, and they beat Alabama last year, and Alabama loses their best player. Just all the things that you just said give you some pause with picking a team like Alabama to win the West. So absolutely, with the right to change my mind as well. That's just a nice little safety net under whatever I say right now.
Yeah, sure.
I definitely would roll with LSU as a pick there. It's all the sense in the world on paper for sure.
It's not talking season yet, so I'll give you but you can't change your mind once we get to July and August. Then you're locked in. All right, man. We appreciate some time on this Friday. Y'all go to my Twitter at HuntPalmer88. You can see the video that JD did sitting down with Brian Kelly for about 10 minutes. Some great stuff there, part of the On3 network. And he hosts the Hard Count. JD Piquell. Have a great weekend. We'll do it again soon, man.
Appreciate you, Hunt. I came to you. I know you got to get off the air. I came to you like Oliver Twist, just asking for you to retweet it. And in a matter of minutes, you said, hey, no problem. We got you. And that made all the difference. So appreciate you, Hunt.
You come on 15 straight Wednesdays, I can give you a retweet. We can make that work. All right, man. Have a good one.
Sounds good. Have a great one, brother.
He's JD Piquell. Appreciate him for jumping on. Some good stuff there with Brian Kelly, so check it out. I got a lump in my throat as I look up at the TV here. Grant Ramey is leading the Players' Championship. You've probably never heard of Grant Ramey, but this is the highest purse they play for all year outside of the Tour Championship. So it's $25 million they're playing for in total. The winner gets north of $3 million. He's leading the tournament. He gets to the 17th hole. I realize that it's Friday, so you got a long way to go, but he gets to the 17th hole. It's the Island Green at Sawgrass. He hits it in the water. Walks over to the drop zone, drops the ball down, hits it in the water. So he's now knocked his 5th shot on a par 3 on the green, and he has 15 feet for triple bogey 6, which will knock him down into 9th place from the lead. And odds are he's probably not going to make this. I'm just going to look at it. I'm watching dollar signs just run away from Grant Ramey right now. It could be a life-changing week for him. It's just very difficult to make a quadruple bogey, which he did because the triple putt just scrolled by. So a quadruple bogey 7 on the 17th hole. Thanks, Pat Dye and Alice Dye, for designing that green, as he says as he walks off. We'll come back. We'll play some Take It or Leave It. We'll get you set up for a weekend. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. The Riot Radio Hour is returned. We're previewing LSU Samford in baseball, recapping LSU Vandy and hoops. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Every single person who is listening to this right now, that includes Casey and Taylor, their weekend's off to a hot start. Why, might you ask? Why is your weekend off to a hot start? You don't even know who I am. It's off to a hot start because the Citizens Bank and Trust poll question of the day was, should Hunt have to sing the Vanderbilt fight song since I guaranteed an LSU win last night? But 67% of you said no, and only 33% of you said yes. So you're all off the hook. You don't have to hear me sing some fight song that I don't even know the words to. Does anyone know the words to the Vanderbilt fight song? Does anyone attend Vanderbilt sporting events with any passion whatsoever that would yield learning the fight song?
You know that it's like super pretentious.
I mean,
it's got to be.
They don't have any fans. If you've been to a football game, the whole stadium's the other team.
Vanderbilt's slogan should be, we're just happy to be here.
Nashville is fun.
Yeah.
Boy, baseball is pretty good, but nobody cares. Vanderbilt beat us last night. Oh, well. I'm going to do a full autopsy on this LSU basketball season on Monday and then kind of give you my thoughts on where the program needs to go for here and how do you fix the problems that they have, because they certainly have them, and Matt McMahon is certainly aware of them. It's going to have some tough conversations. There's some things they've got to go find, and I'll talk about that on Monday. All right, let's play some Take It or Leave It, Taylor Sharp.
Yeah, let's knock it out. Spring Forward. That's happening at 3 a.m. on Sunday. Spring Forward, take it or leave it.
Oh, you take it. You take it. You take it. My wife hates it. She's like, you lose an hour of sleep. Well, not unless you have something to do in the morning on Sunday. If you've got to be at church at 8, yes, you lose an hour of sleep. But if you don't have to set an alarm, like us, the baby's basically the alarm, you sleep until whenever you want. It's just an hour later when you wake up. You don't lose an hour of sleep unless you've got to get up for something. And newsflash, we don't. So I don't plan on losing an hour of sleep, and I like when it's daylight outside at 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock like it is in the summer. I'm all about springing forward. I despise fallback. The only time fallback is good is when you're in college and we beat Bama, and the bar's supposed to close at 2, and then it goes from 1:59 to 1 a.m., and you get an extra hour at the bar to celebrate beating Bama. And that did happen when I was in college, and that was great. Every other time, fallback stinks. Spring forward, awesome. You take it. You love it.
Hate time change. Just because of the principle, we don't need a time change.
We don't. And I did notice that when I was doing prep for Arizona State and Mississippi State baseball, when they played a couple of weeks ago, I was reading some press releases on Arizona State's website, and every time they refer to as Arizona time because they don't do daylight savings time, so they don't call it Mountain or Central. They just do Arizona time year-round, which I kind of like.
We need some Louisiana time. Odell Beckham worked out for NFL teams today. The 30-year-old is among the top receivers in the league next year. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. I think he's a good player, and I think he'll have a pretty robust market, and I think he'll sign a pretty big deal. But I think the days of him being considered one of the top 3 or 4 receivers in the NFL are probably over. He may prove me wrong. But I feel like coming off surgery at that age, probably not quite what you are. We started Jarvis this year, dealing with some injuries, and just didn't seem to be the same guy he was when he led the NFL in catches or set the rookie record for catches or whatever he did. I think Odell probably half a step slower and not quite what he once was, but a productive player in the league, I still think.
Team USA manager Mark DeRosa spoke with Coach K before the World Baseball Classic. USA all the way. Take it or leave it.
I'll probably leave it. Dominican Republic's pretty good. Japan's always got a good team. It's got a lot of talent. I'm thrilled that Mike Trout is playing. They got Kyle Schwarber in there as well. They got Nolan Arenado. I think Goldschmidt's playing. I mean, they got some dudes that are playing for Team USA. But winning a baseball tournament is difficult, so I'll say probably not. Cool for DeRosa, though, because Coach K was the coach of that Redeem team. I've talked about that a ton of times. That was the 08 team that had really all the really good players. They had LeBron and Wade and Bosch and Kobe, and it was a really, really good team. And Coach K coached that team, and I love the documentary on that as well. So for DeRosa to get that opportunity, that's pretty cool. And hopefully the USA does win. I'm pulling for him. I just probably won't watch very much of it.
All right, last one. This man thought very fondly of here in Baton Rouge. Dick Vitale was offered a spot on the CBS broadcast for the NCAA tournament, but he turned it down because of his loyalty to ESPN, that along with his loyalty to Rick Pitino.
Yes.
Dickie V on the tournament broadcast. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Look, I have been outspoken on these airwaves. Like, I think the game has passed Dickie V by in terms of what goes on around it. I still appreciate the passion and what he's created over the last 35 years of of being kind of the face of college basketball for a long time. And I think it would be cool if he got on the broadcast of an NCAA tournament game, because that's not something he's able to do while on ESPN. I think it's kind of a lifetime achievement award. That would be a cool thing. I don't need him all the time, and I think there are some things he says about recruiting and transfer portal and not calling out other coaches while he was jumping down Will Wade's throat and all that kind of stuff. That stuff aside, I can put it aside and say that I think it would be cool if he called a tournament game. Still think that he's the game's passed him by from that perspective, but I think it would be cool if he did it, and I'm bummed out that he didn't, because that would have been a nice thing for him to do. But onward and upward, I suppose. I am headed out to Parkview Baptist, excited for that. To call a little baseball this evening. I'll be on the call tomorrow for LSU and Samford. 3-game set, 6:30, 6:30, 1 o'clock, your 3 game times. You can catch on Eagle 98.1 pregame show starting up at 6 o'clock today. Our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Going by, it's on Government, Foster, and Jefferson. Between those two, it's fantastic. Great batter, crispy, clean fish, big Gulf shrimp. Told you about the special all day. They got their world-famous baked potato with the crawfish etouffee and fried shrimp on top. Fantastic. If you're looking for a Lenten meal, get on by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Cork's Fried Fish and Shrimp.com. That'll do it for us. Matt Moscona is about to drive you home from 3 to 6 on After Further Review. We will see you Monday, same time, same place, 1 to 3. It's Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile.